No, we all got to hunt for our own reasons. I don't think everybody, it never should be that we all fit in the same mold. It's whatever you're after, you know, and I've hunted for the most part all these years the way I like to hunt and the way I feel like I would hunt, whether anybody knew about it or not. And that's worked well for me.
Road trip, arguably the best elk hunter on planet Earth. Those words would never come out of his mouth. He's super humble. He's also a giant. He's a mountain of a man, especially compared to me. He's kind of lives a recluse life, tucked back into northwest Montana, lives on a ranch that's off the grid. Used to own Trophy Taker, maker of the Smackdown Rest, Shuttle T-Lock, Broadheads, sold all that, and has been doing Option Archery basically out of his house. I've only been asking him to be on my podcast for about 6 years, and so I brought podcasting equipment with me, going to his house, gonna bring you guys along and get to know the maker of the Canyon Pounder, the maker of Option Archery. We're gonna show you the world's greatest trophy display. I think there's like 20 plus 350 bulls, public land, self-guided. This guy's incredible. Got a wealth of knowledge. I wanna break down the Canyon Pounder site with him, go over all the offerings, the details, see what it's like, how he lives his life. Check out his man cave, his ranch, his trophy room, his home gym, bring you guys along. Today's gonna be epic. Epic. It's been a long time.
It has been. Years ago, there was a town here, Belknap, and it burned in the 1910 fire.
Okay.
This is one of the few buildings that survived that 1910 fire. So this was the post office and general store for the town of Belknap. You don't always have to work harder. Just working hard doesn't necessarily do it. You got to work. You got to work smart. Being in the wrong place and working your butt off is not going to do you any good. And that's one thing that was kind of interesting for me to learn. If you hunt in great areas, you're going to have a lot easier time having great results than if you hunt in an area that's not great. And then what I do, I mean, it's up to you, but I just flip the fixed pins out of the way and we'll just get your middle one sighted in.
At 20?
Yeah, that's not very much, so we'll probably just loosen this and slide that up slightly.
So I got laser marks, guys, right here, which makes it super handy. That's as high as she'll go. Do you think that's too high?
There's another hole we can move, but for now, that's fine. Try it there and we'll just see where you're at. And then we'll decide. What we may do is we may actually pull these 4 screws and move this whole housing up a little bit.
Yeah. Can you believe this place?
Are you talking about that deer skull?
Yeah.
I actually shot him, but the problem was that thing sat at the taxidermist for like many years, and he had it in an upstairs attic right in front of a window where the sun was shining in on it.
Well, the sun won, but it's still kind of cool. Back this.
Yep. And then this knob right here.
And is it right is left and left is right?
If you think of it tightening it, it's pulling it toward you, and loosening it, it's pulling it going away.
We'll loosen it.
And they've got the laser marks on top, so you can kind of reference. Probably want to go probably a full 2 of those marks, I would think, at this distance.
Yeah. Let's try that.
Well, we'll see how good we guessed. Hey, we're getting close. Yeah, what I would do is we'll probably shoot at 50 with this wind.
Yeah.
Because it's either 50 or 80 for our reference, but in this wind, it's going to be hard to hold real good on 80. So
yeah.
I would say after if you want to confirm another one here, then we can just make sure we're 50 from one of them and
Okay.
shoot again.
Sounds good to me. All right, so on this deal, it comes with this reference scale. I'm sighting in my middle pin, which is gonna be what I preferred. You have options with Option Archery, but I told Dan I wanted 5 pins, and I wanted my middle pin to be the one that is gonna be my single pin. So you guys can see, I'm gonna hunt elk with something like that. And if I want, which I prefer, I love less clutter, that's a great option. But things happen fast when you party with elk. So I'm using this as my pin that I'm gonna like dope this into, my sight tape. So we moved everything around till this pin was at 0. And now you can go probably sighting at, I think you said 50 and 80 is your options.
Yeah.
We're gonna choose 50 because of the wind. And then we're just gonna try to get as close as we can. And then once we have a good tick, we can at least get a temporary dating sight tape that we can play with. The cool thing is once you get a sight tape, you can send your number in and Dan can laser etch this awesome little slider. Also, one thing did he ever mention that there's dual? You can do different, you could have a sight tape on the back for a different setup, right?
Yep.
Did you say that?
Yeah, or you can use it to reference your bottom fixed pin for tack shoots and stuff for long range stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. In fact, I'll show you it on the sight tape sheets, but each sight tape comes with 2, one for each side.
That's cool.
So.
He thought of it all.
Yep, there's a reason why they start the senior class at 50 years old.
His vision, right?
You get old and shaky, can't see. Boy, that guy you had on your deal the other day, that 57-year-old CrossFit guy.
The Viking, yeah.
Man, that
Kevin
guy's
Kessler.
impressive.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is waterproof.
Yep, they're waterproof.
Thanks for thinking of all that.
It's pretty spendy material, actually. It seems to work really good.
Well, that's why you order the laser engrave.
Right.
What's the turnaround time on that?
Well, I don't have them done yet. So far nobody's been able to get them yet, but as soon as we have everything in, then it'll be fast. Chamfer the corners. It's for no reason except for looks.
Dan likes aesthetics. He's got everything perfect on his arrows, and he does these little wraps with the gaps in it. I don't know how he does that. I kind of want to know. What else does he? I mean, go look at these arrows over there. Like, that is cool to have the little gaps in it. It looks like they've been dipped in paint.
I just do that. I started out just doing that basically so that my arrows didn't look like anybody else's. The other reason I do that is just because it gives you almost the full brightness of a full wrap, but it definitely weighs less.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Especially like if you look at those other arrows I made, the ones out there, I don't have a wrap under the fletching itself.
Yeah.
So that definitely cuts down the weight. Okay, I'm gonna flip the scale over, and I just do that just because so that it just looks nicer.
So when you buy the Canyon Pounder, you get all your sight tapes at the bottom. You get the Allen stubbies, those stubbies, which are nice.
Yep.
You could order the Matthews Integrate, the bridge lock attachment if you needed to,
yep,
or the Picatinny rail if you're running whatever bows, do that. And there's a place to put a light on it. Okay.
There's a light for the mover pin and a light position for the fixed pins, or both. You can have 2 lights if you want. Then I'm just gonna flip this scale over so there's no laser engraving on the back side. Mm-hmm. And then we're gonna put him back on, and then we'll stick the sight tape to that surface.
When are you gonna have an Option Archery YouTube channel?
I do have one.
Oh, well then we'll have to link it in the show. Well, we're gonna link Dan's channel. What, you got any of your elk hunts on there?
No, I just have product stuff on there. I do have some of my elk hunt stuff, but I never had a cameraman for the most part. My brother went with me on some hunts. So there's quite a few old elk videos on YouTube, but that's on my personal channel, which I don't ever keep up with it.
I'm gonna look it up.
If you look it up,
I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna get you 5 more subscribers after this video.
Perfect. Yeah, there are some videos on there for sure. Because for a while I did film some. 5 more subscribers. I've probably got 5 already, so that'll double it. I picked these out just purely for the look.
I think people should comment below if you guys think Dan should get back into the rest game.
Arrow rest, I would say probably.
Well, I'm trying to get Iron Will Bill to make me a 3-blade. Just make me a 3-blade. It'll crush. With the same tooling and rock hard steel. What is the Rockwell? All the stuff he says. All those materials. and a 3-blade. Have you used that 3-blade bevel, single bevel broadhead from Ozcut or something?
Yeah, I have some down
Have you
there.
even killed anything with those?
No.
Okay.
I will say they shoot extremely well. They're very hard to pull out of targets.
Okay.
Because of the design with that, but they shoot extremely well.
Are they sharp out of the package?
Yeah, they're sharp.
All's good.
Okay.
Good day, mate.
Now, I set mine back a little ways so you can see there's a little gap between the pointer.
Yes.
But some people may like to have it further over. I don't know.
I need that little gap.
Okay.
Cool.
So that's that. And then
so I can shoot off this deck right now, 110, and they'll smash the target.
Should be close, except I only have a target to 100, but
100
at the moment. Since you have your sight set up the way you do, when the front one is set at 40, then we're gonna want the back sight tape to be at 60, because it's gonna reference your bottom fixed pin after you're dialed in. So I'll go ahead and install that at 60. So it'll be on right there. Now on the back one, we actually take the sight scale off completely while we're using this and just sight it on.
That's cool.
That's just a reference basically.
Does that make sense? Here's my main pin, and then when I close the option up, I got 20, 30, and then I got 50, 60. Okay, so when I open that up and it's just a single pin horizontal, I'm looking at my sight tape on this side. But if I wanna go to tack, if I use my bottom pin, that'll give me more yardage because it's obviously at the bottom of the housing. So then I'll refer to my back side, and that's what he's setting up right now. I'll be honest, Dan, I hate using a bottom pin. I hate that picture. I'll do it, but man, I'm way more accurate with one pin in the middle of the housing.
So this is just gonna be when you've maxed out your travel, and then you got a target that's 15 yards further. That way you can
at least hit some foam.
Because it's easier to shoot, even though you don't like using the bottom pin reference, it's gonna be easier to use it rather than hold your pin 15 yards over the top of the target.
Nightmare.
Well, I just found out I did not draw my Montana tag. I had my plan all planned for Eastern Montana, and then supposedly it was supposed to be a guaranteed draw for residents, but I didn't draw it. So now I'm back to planning. So
when do you usually start your scouting?
I like to scout all summer. I mean, when it depends on where, where I've got a tag and stuff, of course. But so we stuck that guy on. See, he's at 60. As much as you can see, hey, pretty close. And then there is adjustment, of course, on each of these little indicators. So if I didn't get it perfect, then you can just loosen these two screws and move that indicator up and down like this, which it does. I can also move this to the front of my bow, and then my bow is balanced roughly the same. I have a little bit more side, but as far as front back balance is very similar.
Yeah.
So that's part of the system.
What are you keeping your cash bar on a hunt?
And then in here there's a fleece roll up that comes with each one.
Oh.
And so, I'll let you hold that for a second. Put this in my pocket.
It's my potato.
So in this fleece roll up is what I have the stuff in. So like I've got this knife in here, and then in here I've got all kinds of things. There's a lighter, fire starter set up in that one.
Okay, now this makes sense, because when you were rattling off the stuff at the bottom, so I was like, okay, MacGyver.
So then down in here, what do I got in this one? So this is my rest spring, super glue. I taped that up good.
Taped and it's written.
And then there's a few more things down in here too. So I've got
big old joint right in here somewhere.
Yeah. And I actually probably took some things out of this after hunting season. This is my water bags. So these have water purification pills and water bags, and I think they're quart size bags that I take. And then this in here I have just a few first aid kit stuff, Allen wrench sets, just the Allen wrench, individual Allen wrenches that I need for
some electrical tape.
Here's the other ones, and I've got electrical tape wrapping the Allen wrenches, so I've got extra electrical tape. And then actually on my quivalizer I have a bunch of cord that's wrapped also. Down in here I think I still have tags. That's what it feels like, a bunch of. And then like I said, down in one of these I'll have like seasoning packets, and well, I showed you the fire starter. And then there'll be some serving and loop cord down in the bottom of these too.
So you like it when we rattle can bows on our channel?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, because you've been doing that forever, man.
Yeah. I mean, of course, with these models that I'm shooting right now, they're target model bows, and they're not even available in camo, you know, so. Floor.
Yeah.
And from this wall forward used to be their little dance hall up here. So right now I've just got it set up for our, this is where we'll come up and work on your sight here.
I set this bow up just yesterday. Nick Fisher and I, we torque tuned, and we ended up bringing it into about here. That gave me the most forgiveness. This distance and this distance are close, you get the most forgiveness. But Dan was like, well, we can save you a bunch of weight and go direct mount. We're taking out of the bridge lock, and we're gonna put this direct mount on here and go old school, but good school. Y'all better appreciate this video. Do you know how long I've been hounding Dan? We've been friends forever. I came over and trained him as his personal trainer. Yeah, I used to write Dan his workout programs like in 2006. So I've known him forever, but he's shy, he's recluse, but he's a wealth of knowledge for bow tuning, like technical archery, and he's just an absolute elk assassin. But more important than all that, he's a really big-hearted dude, and he's real. And I want you guys to see that on camera, like he really cares. And if the Canyon Pounder's for you, man, support Dan, because this is just a cool little operation. It's a passion project for him, and it's awesome. Out of your way?
I think we're okay. And so since he's using the Matthews quiver, and this direct mount still gives plenty of clearance for that. I know there's a hole in there somewhere.
That's the spirit.
So there, the direct mount, now you've got two different options there on where you put it, but I looked at where Dan had already set it with the bridge lock mount, and in this mount on the direct mount, it put it right where he had already started dialing it in. Okay, so I'm gonna need to adjust that a little bit. Since there's 4 screws there, you can take one out at a time, put Loctite on it, and put it back in without it changing your settings. Each of our mount bar systems attached to the vertical drive, that's where the first second axis adjustment is. So this drive rotates this way for second axis. That's stainless steel. The pointer blade and all the fasteners are stainless steel, even though they're black. We have a black oxide finish that's put on them. And this pointer is also adjustable. These 2 screws right here, if you loosen them slightly, you can slide the pointer up and down. Gives you about 1/8 of an inch of adjustment there to make sure you're right on. This knob has a set screw in each side of it, and it's a flat tipped set screw that goes in and locks against a keyed surface on the top end of the Helix drive rod. If you ever get, I don't know, maybe you stand on your head in a mud hole or whatever, and you pack that thing full of mud or something and you need to fix it in the field, you just loosen these 2 set screws and this top knob threads off of the Helix rod, and then you can take the bottom knob and thread the Helix rod right out, and then you can clean it, and again, it doesn't change any of your sight settings. We do have a 0 stop that's being made at the machine shop right now, so that will be available here shortly, but there is 1 3/4 inches of total travel here. On some setups, depending on your peep height, when you dial that all the way to the bottom, you may not have clearance on your fletchings, and if that's the case, you may want to put a 0 stop at the bottom to make sure you don't dial it down into your fletching. 3 magnets in this surface right here, and 3 magnets over here, and again, they have a cushion between them, so they're silenced when this is closed. And these are extremely strong. This pivots on stainless pivot pins right here. There's no play and there's no noise. When you're going to open this, that's another thing that this magnet bracket acts as, is a finger hook. So you can reach up with your finger and hook it on right here and open it. So when you're shooting, that makes it really quick and easy. The larger level bubble, and you like just a single pin in view, obviously you can flip the fixed pins out of your view and shoot it that way. If you want to add a lens, the lens actually mounts to the fixed pin guard. And so when you close it, then the lens will be in view. So in that case, if you want to have a setup purely as a target setup, slide the 2 fixed pins down, they'll be hidden behind the level bubble. Then you just have a regular target type scope. So there's a lot of different options on how you can set it up. One thing that makes this Canyon Pounder unique is that it has a second surface sight tape. So it comes with this reference scale on the back here, but our sight tapes that are included with each sight will have 2 different sight tapes for each speed. The one for the main side and then one for the second side. And what I like to do is use this second reference to reference my bottom fixed pin. So it's going to give you the most max range if you like to shoot total archery challenge. You know, things where you're just stretching out to unrealistic distances. So that's what this is going to be for. So on this system, this is a CP5. So we've got 4 fixed pins. The mover pin is going to be set in the center. So when you're using the fixed pins, you're going to have a 20, 30, center pin will be 40, and then 50, 60. So this back sight tape will reference your 60 pin. So when you've got the front sight tape set to 40 yards, this back one will be on the tape at 60. So obviously at the bottom of the travel, you're going to have an extra 15 yards, maybe even a little bit more using that bottom pin reference. Very good. Right between our arrows.
Good deal. I thought I saw Cam have your equivalizer on at one point, or Rogan or somebody.
Yeah, Rogan's been shooting them. He's ordered them quite a bit over the years. He just gets on the website and orders them when he wants them.
Yeah.
And he's messaged me a couple times and told me it was his all-time favorite archery accessory.
That's nice, yeah. Rogan's very supportive of the archery community.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like people have no choice but to be thankful.
Yeah.
Someone with that big a platform is a bow hunter.
We should have brought our wind indicator out here to see what this wind's gusting at.
Dude, it's no joke, but this is this might be the most beautiful place I've ever shot.
Yeah. Hey, you put together a couple of good arrows in a row, though. That's good. I put together a couple of spread out ones in a row.
I couldn't even see this target. But that just goes to show you, as far as, I mean, your sight tape method, man.
Right.
Like, your sight tapes are pretty good.
Yeah.
They are exceeding my ability.
Yeah, no, they should. And these targets pull pretty easy, too.
So you like tack vanes, huh?
I do, yeah.
And then how do you get this?
They're just strips. I just cut strips of regular, whatever color you want of the wrap, and I just cut strips that are a little over 1/8 inch wide.
You always use a bushing or a pen knock?
I like bushings. These are actually gold tip bushings. These are Victory arrows, but these are gold tip bushings and GTO gold tip nocks, which on this string setup and everything, I liked that. And
What's
I like
the
fit.
width of your string serving where these knock on usually?
It's about 109 thousandths.
Did you see how you knew that? If you don't know that, you got more work to do on your archery tuning game.
Good group, man, right there. You were shooting. He was shooting at the high 12. He called that one.
Yeah, I couldn't see. I was like, okay, I actually was aiming a little this way because of that.
Yeah, oh, the wind,
that
yeah.
flag right there, y'all.
Yeah.
I was kind of putting them in tight. They didn't really drift, and I haven't really shot these at long distance yet.
Yeah.
They did pretty good in the wind.
Oh, yeah.
They're only $80 an arrow.
Yeah, that's it.
Dan, I want to thank you
No problem,
for
man.
your time,
Yeah.
for your friendship. I've known this guy since I tried to figure it out. It's somewhere around 2005 or 6.
Well, I don't remember when we first, the first time I remember is when you came over. It would have been the winter of 06, when you came over to help me, because I was first getting started into working out,
Yep.
you know, and stuff again.
Yep.
I mean, I'd done it some back in college, but never really knew a lot.
Yep.
And so remember you met down at the other shop, and
Yep.
you gave me a crash course in the flexibility and all kinds of things. And then we went down to the little gym where I was working out.
Yeah. I got a lot of highlights with Dan. I mean, I've had dinners with him at ATA. I remember one time I drew a tag. He was in Spokane, came over and brought maps and showed me where to go. I remember one time I was hunting Nevada mule deer, and I came into his camp and hung out and helped him glass. We got history, man, but here's the guy. He's the real deal, and it's what the inside of Dan Evans. Come listen to our podcast. You get to know him. He's a champion. He loves the Lord. He loves his family. He loves archery, and he's all self-made, and I got so much respect for him. Tap the subscribe button. Check out his channel.
Yeah.
We'll catch you on the next one, guys.